How we doing, everybody? This is Nerds and Words. My name's Chase.
My name's
This
Kevin.
is There you go. This is the second episode of our podcast. We didn't think we were going to get this far, so we're kind of glad that you're still with us. Kevin has pointed out to me that I did not really describe what our podcast is about in the first episode. But see, that's the pilot. That's you're going to get through those. You got to make your mistakes the first time.
Pilot
So
V2.
our pilot V2. This is version 2.0. Our podcast is simply that, nerds and words. We are two nerdy dudes. We also like to talk, so that's where the nerds and the words part comes in. We are going to choose a word every week. This is going to be a weekly thing. We're going to try to get it out on Fridays every week. So keep an eye out for that. But every week we pick a word and then we kind of share stories and talk about, experiences or topics or just anything that falls in the general realm of that word. So last week's word was struggle. If you didn't catch that episode, it is on Spotify and YouTube. And I'm working currently on getting it on like Apple and stuff like that. So everybody has access to it. But
Yes. So why don't you go ahead and tell them what this week's word is?
this week's word is, Kevin, make it pop up right here.
You know I will.
Patience. Patience. And not like you go to the doctor and you see a bunch of patients, as in you go to Walmart and there's a lot of people and you got to have patience. Um,
I think
so
you
don't.
just go to Walmart and there's not a lot of people and you still need patience.
That's also true. But I wanted to make that distinct. That was mostly for you, Kevin, so you didn't put the wrong word. Appreciate it.
Wow.
Uh,
Okay. Throwing shots already.
I mean, it's only what, 4 minutes in? That's a record. So,
2.5, but all right.
oh well, you have no patience. I can't count. I'm a writer. I don't need to. I don't need to know math.
I couldn't do quick math last episode. I don't even know what that was.
That's true. You were. I was there for you. So that just completely contradicts myself from the first episode.
Hey, it's all good. It's all good. We're gonna get there. One step at a time. Like so what I think I said, I don't know if I said, I don't think I said this on the episode last week, but like as long as we improve something, every episode, maybe do something to make it a little better and maybe a little more concise, it'll be good by the time we get to episode 4, which I would highly recommend you skip again.
Yeah, that's, you know what? If you want to be a guest on episode 4, just let us know. We'll pencil you in, and we'll see what we can do to make that episode a little bit better. But if people skip it, just know that it's probably your fault. So
Okay. Wait, my fault or the guest's fault?
whoever wants to take the blame.
I'm not taking this one. I'm not gonna take the fall for this.
Kevin's like, I've taken enough blame this week.
Dude, you have no idea.
So yeah, this is episode 2, September 4th.
Yes.
Listen, patience. I chose patience this week because it was my week to choose. Because I had to have patience putting this podcast on the internet.
Oh boy.
So when we started this, me and Kevin made an agreement. Kevin would take care of the technical stuff, like the editing, the setting up the recording, and all that good stuff. I have no business doing because, well, that's not who I am. So I told him I would take care of the social media stuff. I would take care of the YouTube, the Spotify, posting it on social medias, trying to get the word out. I'm good at that. Apparently, I'm not good at that because it took me like 8 hours to put this podcast on. So
What was the problem?
Well, the first problem was with Spotify. They kept telling me that I couldn't publish the podcast because it wasn't finished, which I knew was a lie because it was finished. And so I just kind of sat there and stared at the screen like I was doing taxes, going, I don't know what you want from me, Spotify.
Dude, how do you
So
I knew it wasn't a lie.
I knew it wasn't. So I was like, okay, well, so I just started over. I just completely wiped the slate clean. I was like, you know what? We're just going to ground up. That's where we're going. Um, didn't get anywhere because it still was like it's still unfinished. So I'm
What does that
googling.
even mean?
I don't know. I eventually got it published though because I think I misclicked a button or something, and it asked me if I wanted to publish now or if I wanted to publish on a scheduled date, and I was like, I want to publish it now, and it was like, no. So I did everything the same way and just said publish it in 15 minutes, and then it published it. I don't know.
I got frustrated for sure, so I get it.
Oh, and then YouTube made me wait an hour and a half to check. It had to upload it. It had to change it to high definition because you guys want to see our beautiful faces in all of its glorious detail. And I'm just telling myself that, Kevin. And then it has to check the content to make sure there's nothing copyrighted. So I was just working on my book while that was doing that in the background. I get a little notification, ding, it's done. You can publish it now. You can put it on YouTube. That's great. I'm ready to do that. I went to hit the publish button. It says your video is too long. It can't be more than 15 minutes. I was like, well, but I've seen videos on YouTube that's 12 hours long. We're not that far. And so it turns out you have to verify your YouTube account before they let you post anything that long. And you know how I verified it? They asked me for my phone number.
You had to have some patience to figure that out.
Oh, because after that, like once it was verified, I couldn't just hit the publish button. I had to redo it again.
Oh no.
And it was already like 3 o'clock in the morning. And so I was like, okay, I'll wait this out. And it said 80 minutes. And I said, good night. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm not. Mm-mm.
Dang.
Yeah, it took everything within me to not flip my own desk, but
Hey, you got it online and it looks cool. I'm excited about it.
I am too. Like once it actually gave me a link that took me to the actual podcast, I was pretty excited because, like I said, I'm not that savvy when it comes to stuff like that. I had to watch a whole bunch of videos to even get it on here, but we got
Right.
it on here. So too, we're chugging along, and
I wanted
hopefully
to
we'll
ask,
stay.
were you able to get it uploaded onto Spotify because Spotify's audio only with the video file, or did you need an audio file? But I guess you did not.
Nope, actually, when I watched it today on Spotify, it actually plays our video.
What?
Yeah,
That's cool. Didn't know if it even did that.
I didn't know it did that either until I clicked on it, and I was just expecting the voice, and lo and behold, there's both of our mugs sitting there, talking
Oh,
away.
that's good.
So I was like,
Wow.
all right, that's fine with me.
We're learning as we go.
We are. Now, what about you, Kevin? Have you done anything this week that required your utmost patience?
There was a video game coming out this week that I have been waiting for years.
Oh
So that
yes,
was some patience.
the nerd Mount Everest of patience, waiting for the new game.
Dude, let me tell you. So I life is busy, right? So like back when I was a kid, if a new game was coming out, you go to the midnight release and then you'd call out you wouldn't go to school the next day, or you would, call out of work if you had a fast food job or something like that. You call out of work and then you just stay up all night and all day the next day playing that new game.
Yep,
Well, as luck would have it, life doesn't work that way when you get a little older. You have to go to work, and
unfortunately.
you have to pay the bills, and jobs don't like it when you just call out for a video game. And yeah, I could say I was sick, but they're really on to the whole proof thing. They want a doctor's note and all that, and I'm just like, I don't feel like forging a doctor's note. I just
Yeah, those days are gone. I can't do it anymore. They changed all the notepads, and so it's a little bit difficult to forge your mother's. It's a little bit more difficult to forge a doctor's note than it is your mother's handwriting.
it's a little more difficult. Yeah, I do actually have. I have a
It didn't-
template saved. I have a template saved where I can change the date, change the change the date, change the name of the doctor, and you can use Adobe signature. Just put in whatever name you want, and it'll make a signature with the name. and put it on there, and I've gotten by with it twice. Might cut this out. I don't know if I should put this on here, but
Did you? All right. Welcome to Nerds and Words, where Kevin tells on himself. Week 3, we'll hear
is this
Kevin's
week's
story
is
about how he
this
got fired.
is this week's episode not confessions? I'm sorry, did I get it wrong?
No, it's patience, not penance.
Ah, my bad. I got it wrong. I messed it up. Future episodes, guys. Don't worry about it. Just cut
This
that.
is about to be Kevin's full-time job.
I'll tell the editor to cut that out.
Yeah, you better tell him. Oh shoot!
Anyway, all that to say, I had to go to work on the day that the game came out, and I was just like so amped to play this game. It's so
Wait,
Starfield
what?
is the game.
I was going to say, what game is it? Is it
Starfield. So this is
Checkers 3D version?
3D check. Yeah, I've been waiting for years.
We finally have the technology.
I'm like, you just played on the checkerboard, man. No,
All
so
right, so Starfield. I've heard a little bit about that.
Bethesda Game Studios, one of my favorite publishing companies of all time. They made games like Fallout. They make Elder Scrolls, and this is their first new IP in 25 years. So they haven't had like it's been a long time since they've done anything like this, and this game is super ambitious. And the discourse around this game in the public and like the reviews and stuff is all like super critical, super hateful, and I'm not saying that the game is perfect by any means. It's definitely not perfect, but like, because I don't think there is a perfect game. Every game is made by people, so like, there's gonna be stuff in it that's not perfect. But
No, there's a perfect game. It's a Snake on the
oh,
Nokia. Listen, man,
I
that
wasn't
requires.
talking about the goat. Okay, let's
Oh,
back it up a bit.
oh, my apologies. Okay, I was just
All
making
other
sure that you
games,
understood that that game cannot be touched. Okay.
all other games, you know. But what I was getting to with this is this game, right? So it's I don't know. Like I feel like these people who do these reviews and stuff like that, especially the ones that are super critical, I feel like they just get so I don't know. They get into this. I don't even know what the word would be. It's like they. How do you describe this? They play so many games and they go through the motions so much they get complacent and they don't take appreciation for the things in games anymore. They're just like they analyze it at a level that's not even playing the game when they're reviewing it. They're analyzing at a level that's like, okay, so this quest was a fetch quest, so go from A to B, pick up item, go back to A, and like that's the way they see it. They don't see it as like the storytelling and all the stuff around it. They just see the bare bones basics of it, and I feel like it ruins it for them a lot of the times. Like I feel like it's like taking away the magic for video games for some of them, and you can really tell. I'm not saying that the game does not deserve any criticism, but I'm saying is like I'm about 10 hours into the game. That's it, just 10 hours. I've barely touched it because the game I'm hearing people say they've put in hundreds of hours already. I don't know how. I don't know how, but they put in all these hours in this game. I've only put 10 hours in, but I have enjoyed every minute of it thus far. I haven't ran into anything that I was like, oh, I gotta do this, or this is so boring, this is so terrible, I gotta get through this. Nothing like that. Game is super enjoyable. It's like super in depth. There's all kind of the voice acting is good, the music is good, the environment is good, the storytelling is really good. The RPG systems in this game, you can tell Bethesda has really gone back to their RPG roots. They've really gone back and picked up the what made them so popular, like with the games like Fallout and no, they jumped into Fallout 3, but the Elder Scrolls and the RPG mechanics because when they made Fallout 4 was a great game, but I don't feel like it was a great Fallout game because Fallout's really supposed to be, that RPG goodness. I think Fallout New Vegas speaks to that because Fallout New Vegas is still like my favorite game of all time. The game's untouchable. It's a perfect RPG. So New Vegas and Snake on the Nokia, but
Yeah, I'm glad you recognize.
yeah, I got game recognized game, but literally and
Literally,
figuratively.
I was just kidding. Uh,
But But Fallout 4 when it came out, like they had watered down the RPG mechanics of it, and it was like I said, it was a really enjoyable game. Super enjoyed the game. It was a great game. It just didn't have that RPG ness. And I don't even want to talk about 76. We're gonna pretend that doesn't exist.
Hey,
Um,
I actually like 76 for just the multiplayer aspect. I mean,
I
yeah,
feel
sure, it's definitely not a 4 or even it's not even in the same building as New Vegas, but, I think just for what it is, it's a very enjoyable game. Now, what it was supposed to be, no, it's not even close to what it was supposed to be, which sucks because I was really looking forward to that game, but when you're an adult and you get your hopes up, something always dashes them, and Bethesda did that for me, so I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
I think the game that took getting super hyped up about games out of gaming for me was Cyberpunk, because I was so hyped for Cyberpunk just as much as I was for Fallout 4. And then when
Mm,
Cyberpunk came out and it had all those issues, now mind you, it's a great RPG. It's a great game.
yeah, it's a great
But
game. It literally got better the older it was because they updated it so
kind
much.
of like No Man's Sky, like they built it up to something great, even though it came out really rocky. So the game's great, but it just burnt me out on getting hyped up for games. But then last year, we got a masterpiece. We got Elden Ring last year, and let me tell you that game got me excited about playing games again. That game was just phenomenal from beginning to end. There was no dull moments. There was no I don't even know how to describe how much I loved that game. It almost took my favorite game of all time slot. I'm still
Dang.
in debate. I'm still in debate. It's really up there with New Vegas. It's like that up there.
I have no opinion of it because I'm still on the first level because I have no patience. So,
That game does require an extreme amount of patience. An extreme amount of
yes,
patience is required for that
because I
game.
was like, "You know what? I'm gonna put it on easy," and the game's like, "What's that? We don't do that here." And I was like, "What?" But I just wanna have fun. They're like, "We don't do that here either." So I'm like,
This
"Oh,
is you know that what they say in the Souls community. Get good, son.
they do." Like, I feel like you have to be a masochist to play that game. You're just like,
I,
I'm ready to be hurt.
to
Just
be fair,
just just do it."
I'm not like a god or anything at those games like some of these guys are who are just go in there and slay. I play Magic, so immediately I'm gonna hear if there's any Souls fans in the comments. They're gonna be like, "You're not really playing the game if you're not playing it melee." Whatever. I feel like if they put it in the game for you to use, then you're playing the game.
Well,
Like
yeah, I mean, that's
if I mean, like it doesn't make any sense. The arguments that you're not really playing it the way it's supposed to be played if you're not playing melee. I'm like, well, they put in the spirits in there for me to summon to help me with the boss battles. They gave me the magic. They put that
yeah.
spell in there. I'm gonna use it. And
It's not like
magical.
it's not like you're modding it to help you.
No,
Because then I'd be like,
I'm not
"You're
using
garbage."
console commands or anything like that. I'm just
Yeah.
playing the game the way it's meant to be. Yeah, those dudes can get out of here. I'm not about that. But that game just got me excited about gaming again because this generation of gaming, there's been so many good games. This year we
Mhm.
got a Resident Evil 4 remake. What? Like
Listen,
what in
man,
the
I
world?
love that game. That
So
game was I was so worried though because Resident Evil 4, the first one, like the original, was my number 1 game of all time.
best,
And
one of the best of all time for sure, bar
so
none.
then when they're like, "Hey, we're gonna remake it," and I was like, "I've seen what you've done to other Resident Evil games. Do not disappoint me. Do you understand me?" And so it was, I played it, I waited, I pre-ordered it in, like, 10 years ago. That's what it feels like anyway. That's how long I waited for it. Um, and then
You
when it
gotta have the
came out
patience, you think.
yeah, listen, I had no I watched the clock. I had it setting on the background of my console, ticking down. It's like, you got 47 months left. You'll get there." But,
years.
but when it finally came out and I played it, I was so critical of it, but there wasn't a lot to be critical of.
It,
So,
I'll be honest, they my biggest thing was I hope they don't change anything, but at the same time, I hope they add to it a little bit. And they literally did that.
yeah.
There was a scene when I knew that I loved the remake. There was a scene where I can't remember what location it was exactly. It was right when you get into the castle, and you had to go down this path, and you were running from the giant that was throwing stuff at you, and you had to
Yeah.
run through this environment. It was like a completely added section to the game. Was not there before. And then you go right into a section that you know and you're familiar with, and I was like, dude, they killed it. They really can't showed up and just like brought us a new version of Resident Evil 4, one of the best video games of all time. So, New Vegas Resident Evil 4 remake and Nokia Snake.
Nokia Snake. Yeah, no, they added a lot more story to it, and who I think, which really appealed to me because I play a lot of games that have cut scenes because I like there being a motivation or a reason for why I'm doing what I'm doing in the game, not to just be
Right.
like do it. That's all you need. So when they gave me that, and they gave me more background information on some of the characters that were kind of like a mystery the first time, chef's kiss. Like I've played it
And the
probably.
merchant and the way they fleshed him out more, and oh
Yes,
my god, so
he
good.
was he was because he was one of my favorite characters in that entire like he was right like there's Leon and then there's the merchant like just barely, and so
Little tidbit.
I was really hoping that they didn't mess him up.
Yeah, they did a great job with him. Little tidbit for those who may not know, or any listeners here. If you've played the original Resident Evil 4, it's very notorious for the fact that Ashley Graham's voice is incredibly annoying. Would you like to know who voices Ashley Graham?
Who voices Ashley Graham?
I'm not going to say her name because I can't remember, but it is the actress who voices Sandy Cheeks from SpongeBob. I just ruined
Well,
everyone's childhood. Hope you enjoyed it.
I need a mod of that now.
That's what it is. That's who voiced it. It's crazy.
I want to go home, 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 home. Leon, take me home.
Dude, no, you didn't do it.
That's it.
What was it that the cringiest thing in that whole game is at the end? He's like, "What do you say we do some overtime?"
Overtime, but he's
He's
like,
like, I don't think so."
I'm good.
What did he
You're.
say? What did he say?
It's exactly. He's just like, no. I'm just.
The
There wasn't
president's
even a.
daughter is hitting on the agent.
Yeah, that's funny. Oh shoot. Well, thanks for ruining that for me. I'm never gonna be able to hear that.
Did you not know that before?
I really did not know that. That's new
Yeah, someone
information.
told someone told me that, and I once you hear it, you can't unhear it. Every
Nope.
time I'm playing the original now, I see Sandy Cheeks or I hear Sandy Cheeks in my ears. I'm like, this is awful.
I don't know if you've said it, but he's talking about Sandy Cheeks from SpongeBob.
If
Not just
we have listeners that don't know who Sandy Cheeks is, get out of the
they
podcast. You don't belong here.
listen, everybody's welcome here, but just in case, the internet is filled with fiends, and so when you say Sandy Cheeks, they might be thinking you're talking about something else.
I'm so disappointed in anybody who took it that. So
Listen,
all,
covering all my bases, man.
hey, it's fair. It's fair. To be fair, all this. I mean, yeah, I see where you're coming from. I should have clarified.
They're gonna be like, "What are you listening to? Talk about Sandy Cheeks? Is that an Instagram model?
God.
Maybe. Who
All right.
knows?
So all this was said because it brought up Starfield and how you know
Oh
it's
yeah, we're
just
still talking about Starfield.
yeah, we just went way off path. The game is phenomenal. Like I said, I'm only 10 hours in, but man, this
Uh,
game rocks. I can't wait to play. Like it's hard for me to put it down. Of course, being an adult, you have to do things. You know, you gotta put the controller down every once in a while to get stuff done. But the game is solid. I can't wait to play more. I truly think that they've cooked up a masterpiece here, and I can't wait to get to the campaign and see what this twist they're talking about with the new game plus, because that's what I keep hearing. There's like a new game plus, but it's like a twist on it that you almost want to get through the campaign to start new game plus, because that's when the real game starts. And I don't know what that could even mean or how that would work, but I'm excited to take a look at it.
well, good. And also, we're not sponsored by Starfield, just in case anybody's wondering.
Yeah,
Um,
God, no.
I would have a better mic if we.
I would also have a light that worked. I'm using a
Hey,
candle right now.
it's oh well, hey, it's episode 2, man. We're supposed to be in the slums. That's how it
Yeah,
works.
Gotta have patience, guys, if you want to stick with us.
Hey, speaking of patience, Kevin, I didn't have a chance to run this by you because I literally thought of it like 10 minutes before you hopped on.
Okay.
Okay,
Let's go.
so every week we alternate who picks the word,
Right.
right? All right. So I want to add a new segment, the
Okay.
question of the week, and it
Is this
pertaining to the word that whoever's chosen the word, or what word has been
so
chosen.
whoever comes up with the word also has to come up with a question to go along with it?
Yes.
Oh boy. All right, what's the question this week?
All right. So, and I'm going to answer this too. Now, the way my questions are going to be, formatted is I'm going to give you, it's kind of like a would you rather. However, it's going to have two layers. You're going to answer the
Two
first
layers.
layer. Yeah, you're going to answer the first layer, and then I'll give you the second layer, which is going to is going to change how you look at the question, and then we'll go from there.
I'm in. Just lay it out what you got.
You're okay. So it's pertaining to patience. So the first layer of it is: would you rather have $1 billion
Mhm.
or $100,000? Don't think too hard on that. Like your answer is
A
not
billion
dependent on.
dollars. There's
Okay, yeah.
no way
Obviously,
that's bad.
you're going to choose the $1 billion. So,
Okay.
but we've both chosen because I'm also going to choose $1 billion because why wouldn't you? Um, so now the question is: would you rather have $1 billion, but you have to wait 10 years to get it,
Mhm.
or would you rather have $100,000 right now, but it's all in pennies in your front yard?
Definitely the $1 billion. Like no, there's not even a debate there. The pennies
What?
thing? Like
Yeah,
why'd you
but see the
like
thing
that's
is,
already so much less than a billion. Like
well,
if
it
you had
is, but
said
you get it
now
now.
if you had said let's look at this question now because if you had said the same exact question the same exact way but instead of billion you said million, $100,000 all day. hundred thousand
Well,
dollars
yeah,
all day. But you said billion with a B.
I did. Like,
Listeners,
as in
listeners,
billion.
listeners. For those who don't know how much a billion is, let's put it into context. Um, a million seconds from now is sometime next week. It's like 11 days. Okay? A billion seconds from now? 32 years.
Yeah,
32 years. A billion sec. Do I want $100,000 today in pennies or $1 billion in 10 years and then you just never have to work again? Yeah, I'm taking the billion. Like
but
all day, every day.
that's assuming that you live that long.
Let me tell you, I have the patience to find out.
Well, see, here's what I would do. I would still take the billion, not because $100,000 worth of pennies in my yard is unbearable. I don't think anybody would
How many
steal
pennies
it.
is that? So it's like a thousand pennies
It'd be 10
is
million pennies.
or 10 million pennies. Okay, yeah. Thank you for the math. Um,
Yeah, I'll even roll them for you when they show up in there, so that way, they're
10
not.
million. I'm just gonna do a little math here.
Don't do that. It's dangerous.
I'm gonna pull it onto the screen so you guys can see. 10 million. There's 10,000, 100,000, 1 million, 10 million, and divide that by 50 because that's how many pennies go in a roll.
Many roll.
200,000 rolls of pennies.
Yeah.
No, thank you. No, thank
No.
you. No. Do you know how much that would weigh? Do you?
All right. What
What?
what if I what if
No.
I what if I change the question to quarters?
That doesn't help that much. I mean, it's maybe slightly. Hold on. Pull this back up. All right.
I'm trying to see where the line is for you.
Oh, the
Like you're
line. You want to know the
yeah.
line? Oh, okay. Let me just do this math real quick. So
All
we're
right.
looking at
So I'm gonna change it to this. If you get $100,000 check right now, or you get $1 billion in 10 years, assuming that you live.
now. This is interesting.
There you okay. So this is what I was hoping for. Like, I mean,
This
I would take the pennies. I mean, I'm not selfish. If somebody's like, here's 100 grand in pennies, are you gonna be like, no, I don't want this?
well,
Hell
here's
yeah,
the
I'm gonna
thing.
take it.
Here's the thing. $100,000 today. If if I weren't in my current circumstances, if I was not in my current circumstances, I would still take the billion. Because if I knew that was coming, and I knew if I
Mhm.
lived that long and I got there, I was just going to receive $1 billion. Because you got to
Mhm.
think about it. You have these billionaires out there that are just stupid. I'm not talking about anybody in particular. I'm just saying they make decisions that doesn't make any sense, like buying Twitter for $40 billion. What? Okay, we're not going
Yeah.
there.
Anyway, not specifics or anything.
But yeah, but a billion, like $1 billion, you never have to work again, ever.
Mhm.
You would never. You could give away $1 million a year for the rest of your life, and
Mhm.
you'd still be fine.
Yeah.
Like, it's so much money. But $100,000 today
Today.
would get me out of debt,
Mhm.
would get me into a down payment for a house. In
Mhm.
this market, it's incredibly difficult to without a massive down payment and have the money for all the fees and things going to it to buy a house. So having a down payment for a house, out of debt completely, outside of the house, of course, and yeah, like that's enough. That's enough right there to take that and not wait the 10 years.
Mhm.
But $1 billion. Very
Yeah.
good question. I like the question. I like the question, but good lord, it's hard.
I mean, I would still take the billion, and what I would do is just get it in writing and then put it in my wife's name if I died.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
But I mean, also 100 grand right now would solve a lot of problems. So it's kind of like, are you wanting to solve your problems now, or can you struggle long enough to make sure that you never have to worry about money again?
Do you know what people
Muffin
bother
Man,
me the most? No, I don't know the Muffin Man. The Muffin
that's
Man.
sad.
The
He's a
Muffin
good
Man.
dude.
No. Do you know who bothers me the most? The people who
Mm,
preach and say over and over again, money doesn't buy happiness. Oh, it's not always about money. Money doesn't buy happiness. Money's not going to solve all your problems. I
well,
literally do not have a problem right now that money would not solve. Don't have one. I can't think of one. I could list off every problem I have in my life from A to Z, just all of them. And not a one of
yeah.
them, I don't believe, could not be solved by money in some form or fashion.
And which, I don't think money does buy happiness, but it can definitely buy you peace, which will lead to happiness. So,
I think at a certain point, more money doesn't make you happier. I think that's true. But I think getting
yeah.
the financial freedom and not being, locked in by debt and bills and things like that and having to worry about it, I think getting out of that is a piece, like you're saying, that
Like
that
even if I just made 100 grand a year, six figures, like the lowest six figures that you can make. If I was making that a year, my lifestyle is minimal enough outside of my collecting because that's where most of my disposable income goes to. Outside of that, like if I made 100 grand a year, I would just take like 2 or 3 years and pay off my house, pay off all my debts. And then after that, I'm just making 100 grand a year to do what I want with it. Like, I don't even need $1 million. Like, if I made $1 million a year, yeah, cool. But I think anything more than that, that's when you start having problems. Like, you're making $1 billion a year. If you're just hoarding it, then you start having all these people, wanting stuff from you. And if I'm making $1 billion a year, I'm probably going to give most of it away just
Mhm.
because um, the more, the way I see it, the more people that have more money, the less, things will start costing because everybody's got it.
Right.
So don't quote me on that. I don't know anything about economics, but in my brain, that's how it works.
Nothing on this channel is financial advice. Just want to say that now.
No, no, unless, I say, take the pennies, but whatever.
So if we go back to your original question, do you take the
Mhm.
100,000 in pennies today with $1 billion in 10 years? I think a big portion of me wants to stick with the billion, but I think the logical answer is the 100,000 in pennies. I think that there's just too many problems it would solve if I had
Well,
it.
I think if I didn't change it to the check, because the pennies, the bank's only going to give you so much money for those pennies. I think that's one of the things a lot of people don't realize. They're like, yeah, okay, cool. I got 100 grand. It might be all in pennies, but if you go to the bank and you're like, here's $100,000 in pennies,
You'd have to
give
hit
me.
banks all across the U.S. I mean, all the East Coast maybe, or the West Coast, or wherever
You'd
you're
yeah,
located.
you'd have to go to more than one bank and be like, "Hey, here's 2 grand in
Twenty
pennies."
two grand, dude.
Hey, I mean, they might I mean, well, the penny
50 banks? I don't want to look for 50 banks. Sounds
well, I
annoying.
mean, it's not like it's difficult, they're all over the place. You don't have to go
Yeah,
to yours.
yeah.
But if I changed it to just 100 grand right now in a check or wait 10 years for $1 billion, I think that's a better question. I mean, 100 grand still 100 grand, but you could use most people could probably solve every one of their problems with 100 grand today.
I mean, yeah, because my that answers the all of my debt, and then gets me comfortable in a new position. So yeah, that would it would solve all my problems. To be honest, it's almost depressing thinking about these questions because I just know that I'm not getting either.
You're welcome. So, Kevin, what you're saying is you would have the patience to wait for the billion.
I think so. Yeah, I just have to.
I,
I would just have to struggle through 10 years,
I wish we've done
knowing.
that twice already.
Yeah, we've done that. You know, like
Where's my
we
$2
got
billion?
this.
dollars?
Like you just gotta struggle through 10 years. When you think about it, 10 years really isn't that long.
No, because let's
It's long,
see.
but it's not that long.
10 years ago, I was I was working at Walmart.
Yeah.
Oh god, the first
Yeah.
time. So,
Something that requires a lot of patience. As we said in the beginning, Walmart, patience.
yes. But I mean, 10 years ago me versus present day, yeah, I'm way better off than I was 10 years ago.
I'm better off than I was 10 years ago, but dude, gone through a lot of things the last 10 years.
Yeah, if, I don't know, if I had to break down everything I've accomplished in the last 10 years, the list is I mean, it's not immaculate. It's long, but I mean, there's no achievement that is like solving world hunger or winning the lottery or anything, but it's a nice little list of achievements that I can at least say, "Hey, I did that. I accomplished that."
I have things that I've accomplished and things I'm very proud of, you know. It's just if I could go back, the things that would
That's another question, Kevin. If you could go back 10 years and pick a point, any point in that year, that last, so it would be what, 2013? If you could pick a point between January to December and just restart from there, would you?
in 2013,
Yes.
yes, without question, without hesitation, absolutely.
I would not
You wouldn't go back.
because nope. All of the stuff that I suffered through, um, I just kept the mentality that it's gonna lead to something better, and eventually it did, because you and I did not meet in 2013. So, that's one thing gone already. This podcast doesn't exist, we're not friends.
Here's the thing. I agree. There's a lot of that I have in life now that I wouldn't want to let go of, and a
Mhm.
lot of things that I don't know. There's just a lot of things that I think that especially if I got to go back with the knowledge I have now. If the question was, do I go back and just get to go back? No, no way. But if I get to go back with the knowledge that I have now,
Which, yes, I would say you would have some knowledge, otherwise you're just repeating history.
yeah, and that point is no point. So I would say yes for a couple reasons. It's hard to say, but one of the biggest ones is I remember getting so much. That was the year I graduated high school, and I remember getting so much money, and you know what I did with that money?
Blew it.
I blew every dime and on nothing to show for it. Stupid stuff. I went to movies. I went to restaurants. I went to the mall and bought stuff that didn't matter at all. I bought junk. I was buying my friends stuff. I was taking girls to movies and doing this and that because I could. I had money and I just didn't care. Dollar bills, y'all. You know, that was me in 2013. And then right after that, I started dating somebody and then got into my first credit card. And that is the decision. That is the decision that I would go back and not do. I would never
Yeah.
touch a credit card or a loan that wasn't for a vehicle or a house ever.
Okay.
Period.
I could understand that. Like
That is,
I think my big question for myself is if I go back and I still want the life that I have now, can I live through all the stuff that's gonna happen again and be like, "Okay, I gotta let this go because," but knowing that I could change it. Like with, you know, the divorce, there was a lot of rumors about what kind of person I was, and I lost a
right.
lot of people in my life because of that, because, they believed them. And so, would I be able to survive that again, knowing that I'm like, "Okay, well, this is going to be better in the end for me," but it's like I still gotta relive the stress and the pain, and I think I could do it, but I think the toughest part about it would be knowing that I could change it, but I shouldn't.
I think I think logic says that if you went back 10 years ago and had the knowledge you do now, there's almost no way that you could end up in the same spot you're in because while you would want the end result maybe, there's a lot of things that you would just avoid because your instincts would tell you to. Let's say, for example, I knew I was going to get into a car accident in September of 2019, and I knew that was coming. I'm just going to not drive down that road,
On
and
that day.
I'm not going to look at my cell phone when I'm driving in September of 2019. And while that did maybe the it in the grand scheme of things that didn't cause that much, but there's a butterfly effect, right? That's gonna change a ton of things. I'm not going to go to
Yep.
the hospital that day. I'm not going to have that interaction I had with those people that day. I'm not going to do the same things I did that day. And that's going to change so many things. It's going to be hard to get to the same point.
Mhm.
What's really funny to think about, now think about this. This is a good question because what's really fun to think about is think about how many people were affected minorly, mind you, but affected by that car accident. Think about all the things that happened because of it. How much do you think people's lives would change those people? How much would their lives would change if I didn't have the car if I didn't wasn't in the accident?
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
think about the
that's
people
a
who
g
had to stop.
yeah,
Like
they had to stop.
they had to
That may
stop.
have made them late for something, or like the paramedics, I don't know if they were there or not, but if they
They
were
were.
there and maybe like one of them was working overtime because of it, and then they missed, their kid's birthday or something, and that leads to them having problems at home. Not saying that you did any of this, I'm just saying.
Right.
Um, but yeah, you're right. Like you might be able to change some little things, but I think that you're right. That's an aspect of that question that many people don't think about. And I think if given the chance, people would still go back in time and they would kind of have to learn about that the hard way. They'd be like, I'm just gonna change this one thing. I'm just gonna give myself all the lottery numbers for the next 6 years. Yeah, well, those the people that won those lotteries in that span, that might have been the life changer that they needed. They might have been able to get out of an abusive relationship. They might have been able to keep their house, and now you're keeping them there, and because you want money.
What I always think about is so funny. I think about that episode of Family Guy where not Peter, Brian and Stewie go back in time, and Brian tells himself about 9/11, so he could stop 9/11.
Well, sadly, 10 years ago would not fix that. So
There is a lot of tragedies we could stop, though. A lot, quite a few
there
actually.
is there's quite a few things that we could probably change.
Our first marriage is for first.
Nah, I'd still go through with those. You may not, but I would still do it because what I got out of it, not even the marriage, but the divorce, what I got out of it, and the people that I knew were my friends, and not to mention, I met my wife now. Yeah, it sucks, but I think I would still have to be like, okay, well, let's get that part over with so we can get on to the better part. But I don't think I would have the patience to relive that whole decade of my life, go through everything I went through just to have the last. So I probably wouldn't do it. I mean, yeah, it'd be cool if I went back and got all the lottery numbers or bought all those Funkos that came out and are stupid expensive now. But
So many things that are worth so much money now that we could have bought.
yep,
So many things.
um,
It's,
I don't think I could do it. I think I'd just stick with it.
I think it's this exact conversation is the reason why it's not possible because there's a lot of reasons why it's not possible, obviously, but but I think that
uh,
people would do it and regret it, or people would forever be in stress about whether they should or not. Interesting thought for sure.
it is, and like I said, I think a lot of people would take it just because they're like, "Well, I don't like where my life's at now." But I mean, even if I didn't like it, I don't think it would be able to. I would be able to change it much.
Right.
It's canon events. They're going to happen anyway.
Yeah, you're right. I think a lot of things nowadays is I think as we're both going, you're in your 30s, I'm about to get ready to start going through my 30s, and it's like there's just a lot of things that we never had to deal with before that we do now that's taking a lot of patience. I'll tell you a funny
Yeah,
story. I
tell
went
me.
I was at the work I was at work the other day, and I stepped off of some stairs, and I don't think I stepped funny, but my knee like almost collapsed. My knee just hurt. And I was like, "What just happened?" I felt like I had twisted my knee, and I I was like,
It's getting old.
I was like, "What is this?" I was like, "I'm gonna have to go to at work we have this thing called a wellness center. It's like a little mini doctor's
Uh,
office. There's a nurse practitioner there, and you can go see her on site at work if there's an issue." So I set an appointment up. I went over to the wellness center, which is like right up the street from where the office was that I'm at. So I go up the street to the wellness center. I walk up there. I walk in, and I'm just waiting for the nurse to see me. She calls me back, and I'm like, yeah, this is the issue. She's like, did you hurt it at any point this week? I was like, no. She said, did you twist it? I said, no, not really. She said, okay, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. They may have done an X-ray. I don't remember, but I know at the end of it, she comes to me and she's like, okay, so this is your problem. You've got such and such tendonitis in your knee. And I was like, dang, that sucks. She's like, yeah, you just got to do this and do that. It's gonna be all good. I said, okay, really? Is that simple? She's like, yeah, it's not that big a deal. I said, is there like a cure for it? And she was like, yeah, go back to being younger. Like that's what she told me.
just be younger,
Be
Kevin. I mean,
younger,
geez,
and you won't have to deal with
why didn't
tendonitis.
you think of that?
I was so frustrated with that answer though.
Well,
What?
because one, you're like, I feel like this lady's calling me old.
I,
Two,
she's older than me. What business should she have doing that? Like
that's why she could say it because she's like, you know what? I've been there, sir, where I didn't hurt myself, but I hurt myself. Well,
I'm just having to deal with it. So now I have to have
just
patience for that.
just be younger. That's the solution to everything. Just be younger. Actually, it's not the solution to everything, but
I think that's gonna be our title this week.
just be
Just be
younger.
younger. Just be younger. Go instead of going back in time 10
Just be
years ago,
younger.
just be
Yeah,
younger.
yeah. Well, I had problems when I was younger, so it doesn't that's not gonna solve anything for me. I'm just
And
gonna have
when
them longer now.
you think I'm an idiot now. You should have seen me 10 years ago. I was worse.
Yeah, boy, my IQ was not high. Actually, I was smart, but I was dumb. Yeah, that's the
We didn't
best way of my 20s.
we didn't have street smarts.
I was intelligent, but I was stupid.
I can relate to that.
That's why we became friends because we're just two dumb guys trying to survive.
I don't think we're doing all right. I think we're doing okay.
Yeah,
You think?
I think
Eh,
so.
hey, meh.
I
At
mean,
least meh. We're doing meh.
I
At least meh.
mean, I would say that I wouldn't say we're thriving, but I would definitely say that we are better off than we were.
I wish I could skip episode 4 of my life.
I don't think that's how that works.
Well, first I need to know how how episodes are broken up for your life.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say, I don't even think you're through episode. You're not even to episode 3 yet. You know, episodes every
Oh,
10
is a
years.
decade an episode?
Yeah, man.
Yo, I don't wanna skip
Yeah.
episode 4 then, I wanna skip
No,
episode 2. Just skip episode 2, which is
just
supposed to
go
be your
from
golden years, man, and I
yeah,
wasn't
bro.
the golden
If it
years
was
for
supposed to be
me.
my gold was fool's gold, bro. There was there was there was nothing. There was nothing. It was they were like, "Here you go," and I was immediately spent it on ramen.
Dude,
If that no, my golden years are gonna be in my 30s. I mean, I'm almost halfway through them, but I'm declaring it now
I ain't
that
even there yet, but I can already feel like it's gonna be better than my 20s. 20s
well,
are
see,
rough, man.
I'm used to all my friends being younger than me, so I just tell you that it's all downhill from here. So get you a sled. That way you can at
Yep,
least go fast.
yep. It's so funny because you hear that all the time as kids, like, "Oh, time flies when you get older." You're like, "No, it
That's the
doesn't.
that's
You're
the only
dumb."
thing fast when I get old.
I think I think I
I
heard
know
it
I'm
right the
not.
other day. I think I heard it right the other day. I think it's, days go slow, but years go fast. I think that's the best
Yeah,
description of it.
I'd say that's right. Um, yeah, because I mean, it seems like I just blinked and I feel like I just graduated high school, but that was 15 years ago.
Dude, for me, it was, right at 10 years ago. Because, like I said, 2013 was when I graduated high school. That's It's so hard for me to think, to think that that's it does not feel like it's been 10 years. I remember just
Mm,
yesterday walking down the hallway to physics class. Like, I remember so vividly. I remember
yep.
meeting the people that I met. I remember hanging out with the people I hung out with. I remember, skipping the homework that I skipped. I remember taking those doctor's notes.
Kevin incriminating himself once again. Seems like he's got a long history of that.
School contacts me later after this episode. We're gonna need that
Yeah,
diploma back.
yeah. If you could just mail it in at your expense, overnight it.
Of course.
I don't
I
know.
mean,
I mean, I remember stuff of high school, but I don't want to. I remember that we all played this game where we hit each other in the nuts.
what? Hold on. What?
Yeah,
Like
every
for
Friday.
fun?
I don't, it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't like we walked up and we're like, "Hey, man, just give
Was
me the
this
old
you?
sack tap."
Was this you and another teacher, like behind closed doors, or like other
No,
students?
no, the door was open.
The back door?
Uh, but no, it was a thing for some reason. They called it Bag Tag Fridays, and
Bag tag Fridays.
yep,
Dang.
and you just see who you could hit in the nuts the most.
Yeah, I
And it
wasn't.
was,
We didn't do that
it,
when I was in high school.
it was so funny because when I was in high school, everybody was so like homophobic. They didn't want to be gay. They didn't like you being called gay. Yet we had a day dedicated to touching other dudes' junk.
The irony.
It's friggin' it's I don't even have words. Like it took me I think it was a couple years after high school. I was just like, why did we do that? Like was we just did we realize that we were being stupid and we were trying to sterilize ourselves so we couldn't procreate or just trying to save the future?
Planning ahead. You were planning
Yeah,
ahead. That's what you
we
were
were
doing.
planning ahead, but no, it was just like Friday. Everybody was like cracking their knuckles, like, "You boys wear your cups today?" You're like, "No," and they're like, "Nope, sorry for you." So,
Well,
I don't know.
All right, bag tag. We're wrapping up this episode. let's uh let's end this one
Don't
on a
give me that
positive note.
nickname. I don't
It's
want
too late.
that.
It's
I don't
in.
want that.
It's in. Someone's new nickname is bag
Ah,
tag, and it's this
ah.
guy.
Oh, jeez. Fine.
End this on a
I
positive note. Let's hear one positive thing to wrap up this episode.
I do not play Bag Tag Fridays anymore. Uh, Now,
Dude,
if I had a positive note, um, they do say patience is a virtue, and I think there is a lot of truth to that. I think if you are able to wait, keep your heart, focused on what you're wanting, it'll pan out. I mean, I have to have patience with my books. We have to have patience with this podcast. I mean, yeah, granted, we don't want it to. We're not doing it for money or whatever. We're doing it for us and for whoever's listening. But this is going to be a journey, and journeys take time, and well, patience also takes time. So they're kind of hand in hand. I think I think if you're capable and able to wait anything out, it'll benefit you in the long run.
I think so. I don't even think I need to add. I think that's a good point. So, I'll tell you what, I'm looking forward to next week's episode.
As am I. I don't know what it's
We
about
gotta,
yet.
we just gotta figure out a way to get over this hump of the fourth episode. I don't know what we're gonna do.
Listen, man, you know what? I'm gonna bring all my cats in here, and that'll immediately boost it up.
Uh huh.
Mhm.
We get all the views for the cat. People looking up weird cat videos, and somehow we get into the algorithm for that.
Absolutely. So
Hey,
I'm
I'll
fine with
try
that.
anything.
What was we titling this episode? Because I think what we should do also is just not title the episode until we have the episode, and then just say it in the middle of the episode.
Like
I've
we
said
did last
episode
week
six
and this
times.
week.
Yeah,
Yeah. All right. New drinking game. Take a shot every time Chase says episode.
episode. Prepare to get
Uh,
lit.
we said the name of this episode is gonna be "Just Be Younger."
Just be younger. Remember all that, all of you. If you feel like you're getting old, just be younger. And
See
if
you
you
guys on
can't
the
do
next
that,
episode.
yeah. Hey, if you guys enjoyed it, come back and see us for the next one. If you didn't enjoy it, we'll tell your friends and maybe they'll enjoy it.
Yeah, don't tell them you didn't enjoy it though. Just tell them to watch it.
Yeah, yeah, just tell them to watch. Don't give them a review until after they've confirmed that they also do not like it.
Don't like if they ask you like, "Oh, what did you think?" Just lie.
Yeah,
If you didn't like it. If you
let's
did like it, you
condone
can tell them.
lying to our friends now for our sake. Don't do that. Listen to Kevin. Hey, all
See
y'all
you
have
guys in the next one. Y'all be good.
a. Oh, jeez. That was fun.